Sponsored by Ram Trucks, built to serve.
Back here for Things
who's
First.
here.
Now joined by former NFL head coach Eric Mancini.
What's
Good
up,
morning,
Coach? I'm going to give you a hug. It's great to see you this morning. How are you, brother?
Not
Good to
awkward
see
at
you.
all, Nick.
Oh, man.
You're
Awkward at all.
What a glorious day to have Coach here.
So you're so
What
happy.
a glory. I
I haven't
was
seen
bummed.
you this happy in a
Long time. I was so bummed we didn't have Coach last
I
Monday
know.
because it was, of course, the end of the Patriot dynasty. But it's even better we have him today because it's the start of a new dynasty, and we get to talk to him about
We
it.
can get to the Patriots dynasty at some point.
Okay, yeah.
Talk about
All
that.
right, let's make Nick even happier. Let's talk Chiefs. They beat the Texans 51-31. That's not the news. The news from this game is that they trailed 24-0 after a series of mistakes and miscues by the Chiefs. Pat Mahomes, though, mounted an unbelievable comeback to the tune of 321 yards, 5 touchdowns. First team in NFL history to win a playoff game by at least 20 after trailing by at least 20. Here is the quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, after the big win.
Obviously, we didn't want to be in that spot, but the biggest thing that I think I was preaching to the team was let's go do something special. Let's go do something special. Everybody's already counting us out. Let's just go play by play and just put our best effort out there. And, I mean, obviously, I knew as a team we had to kind of everything had to go the right way, but I thought the defense stepped up, special teams stepped up. Offensively, we started making the plays we weren't making, and play by play, we just chipped away at that lead and got the half and came out the second half and kept firing. We're going to fight to the end. We don't care what the score is. We don't care if we're down 24, if we're up 24. We're going to put our best effort every single play, and I think that's just the mentality of this team.
Hard to believe that was only Mahomes' third career playoff game, and to do what he did. Nick, how did the Chiefs mount this epic comeback?
Well, the most basic answer is because they obviously have the best player in football and the best quarterback in football. And despite his youth, despite his lack of experience, he was the steadiest hand in the room. You said it earlier, Jenna. You were spot on. The look on Andy Reid's face after the block punt touchdown, the only word I could use to describe it is catatonic. And then the look on his face after Tyreek Hill had the muff punt, it was, and Andy Reid is, by the way, going to be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame one day, I believe. We had a couple new coaches inducted this year already, and congrats to Coach Cowher and our guy, Jimmy Johnson. Andy Reid's got a similar track record to them without the Super Bowl. And he's a Super Bowl away. And he saw his best chance to win a Super Bowl slipping out of his fingertips. And then Patrick Mahomes saved the day. He was, I think, aided by some very curious coaching decisions by Houston and aided by the fact that the Texans, and the reason I was so confident going into the game that the Chiefs would not just win, but crush them, was because the Texans' defense is drawing dead against Kansas City. The only way they were going to slow down Kansas City was dropped passes of guys running wide open. And that's the only way they stopped them all day. Once the Chiefs stopped dropping passes, they went on a 51-7 run. That is a high school basketball run against a small school from the suburbs, and they did it in the NFL divisional round of the playoffs. So that's how it happened. And the Texans, as soon as the Chiefs punched back, the Texans folded, and the Chiefs had no fold in them whatsoever, Coach.
Yeah, look, they were able to mount an epic comeback because they played epically bad early in the game. And then that's really where it is. And I guess if you want to spot someone else 24 points at home in a game as important as this, and for some reason not come out and play sharp initially and hope that that's a formula that can somehow translate into the championship game and then the Super Bowl and win, I think it's low percentage football. And look, Patrick Mahomes had a great game, but really early on, until the drive at the end of the first half, he really wasn't that productive. And to me, that's when he started playing well. If anybody gets the MVP, it's got to be Sorensen for the game-changing plays that he made. And
Sorensen, if people don't know, he's the one that made the tackle on the fake punt, and then he's the one that forced the fumble.
Yeah, and back-to-back turnovers,
yep,
essentially, that put Kansas City in the position that they were in. It's disappointing to watch this team start the game the way that they started, and obviously it makes it that much more dramatic and impressive that they were able to come back. I just don't know if this formula is something that's sustainable.
You'll win most playoff games you score 51 points. I don't have the numbers to prove that, but I think NFL history scoring 51 in a playoff game.
Yeah, but you don't win a lot of games when you spot someone else 24 points.
No,
I mean, we may have an aberration here, but if that's the formula you think is going to work for them.
No. I think they'll rarely necessarily give up block punt touchdowns and then have Tyreek Hill muff a punt. But the point yeah, you're right. You usually don't want to go down 24-0. But if you do have to go down 24-0, having number 15 on your team is a pretty good antidote to that.
Having Patrick Mahomes is always key. But Nico Hartman, he gave his team life with that kickoff return because the Chiefs would still had to come out 1st and 10 and still try to get something going. They wasn't out of sync. Guys was open. They were just dropping the ball. They were killing themselves, shooting themselves in the foot. But once Hartman had this return, it gave his whole stadium life, gave his team life. And then the second quarter, they just found a matchup. You know, a mismatch with Travis Kelce on the Texan safety, whoever it was. Travis Kelce was the MVP of the second quarter. You know, they tried to double him. He was still getting catches. And once Travis Kelce opened up his lane catching the ball, it's just the Chiefs' offense as a whole just opened up. And Patrick Mahomes, he got more confidence because he was completing these easy throws to Kelce, and then he just couldn't miss. Every throw he threw after that Travis Kelce second quarter, it was golden.
Well, and to your point, Brandon, the Texans clearly made the point, we're not going to let Tyreek Hill beat us, and you run out of people. If you're gonna essentially use one extra player to go over the top of Tyreek Hill, then what's going to be wide open is Travis Kelce. You're not going to be able to double two guys, not when the Chiefs still have McCall Hardman, Sammy Watkins, those other guys, and they went to the matchup repeatedly, and it was the key to flipping the game.
We talked about the Ravens, and we thought maybe there's a lot of it that was rust, that they were off a week, and then Harbaugh didn't play the players really the week before. When it comes to this team, why do you think that the Chiefs started the way they did? Why was it so sloppy? Was it rust as well? Was it not focused? I mean, they're at home, they have that crowd, they have that energy. How does a team come out like that?
Yeah, you know, you always go through this series of decision-making late in the season, and really at the start of the season, too. There's 2 times a year where you're talking about rest versus rust, and I've seen it go both ways. I've seen teams, and New England, I thought we did a pretty good job with buys being able to come back and play strong. But you're balancing it because you don't want to go in and have someone get hurt late in the season, you know, in that final game of the season, then you don't have them. But you also want to keep your guys sharp, and you preach and you talk about it and you try to simulate the conditions as best you can. But the fact is, if you have had that time off, guys do get away from it. It's hard to balance.
And I think there's the pressure of coming in as a massive favorite, knowing you only have something to lose. The Chiefs making another AFC Championship game, while in the PM era, the pre-Mahomes era, they had never hosted an AFC Championship game. They've now done it 2 years in a row. They've never been to back-to-back AFC Championship games. They've now done it both years with him as a starter. But if they had lost, it's a massive disappointment. And you saw from the coaching staff and the players early, except for Patrick, it was affecting them. And as much as I adore Coach Mangini, and that hug was sincere, this is the exact thing you have been demanding he do. Show us when it's really tough. Well, it doesn't get tougher than 24-0 at home in a playoff game. I guess 24-0 on the road could be tougher. But there was no, I mean, when the Pats went down 28-3 in the Super Bowl, and 7 of those points came on a Brady pick 6, and they end up winning by the skin of their teeth in overtime 34-28, it is about the brilliance of Brady. Mahomes had a 10 times greater game yesterday than that playoff game, than that Super Bowl for Tom Brady. He pitched a perfect game. And to say...
Well, he didn't pitch a perfect game. And a lot of things...
one throw the whole game.
A lot of things went right for Kansas City after a lot of things went wrong. So you get the stop on... first of all, you get the big kickoff return. Huge. Okay, then you get the stop on the fake punt. Then you get the ensuing
What did you think of the fake punt?
Look, I thought both those decisions that he's getting killed for right now.
The 4th and 1 field goal
and the punt were fine. At some point, if you're up 21-0, you don't get greedy. Go ahead, you take the points. And then that other situation, the only time that you're going to want to run a fake punt is when you've got the element of surprise. And if you're going to have the element of surprise, it's when you're backed up in your own territory, and it's when you get the right look. If you try to do that at the 50-yard line or on the plus side of the field, you're going to get the other team's punt safe, which is just their defense. So I don't know how people criticize him for being too conservative in one breath and then not conservative enough in another breath. Doesn't make any sense.
This is why I would disagree with it, Coach. When you're 4th and 1 and you're playing Kansas City and you know you need points and you're in the red zone, green zone, it's around 25.
13.
They're on 13, so you're in the red zone. I feel like 3 points won't matter there. When you know you got Patrick Mahomes on the other end, you got to try to go up 28-0, try to get this team out of it. And it's risk-reward. If you don't get it, they still have to drive down the length of the field, get their offense in sync, and when you go for it on 4th down and do a fake punt, the Chiefs just scored. You can't give this team momentum knowing they got a hot hand at quarterback. A short field like this, you just don't want them to get momentum at all, and that's why I disagree with it.
But you can get too greedy, and sometimes coaches are leaving points on the board because the analytics say do one thing, and look at how it affected Baltimore. I mean, they went for it twice on 4th and 1 the day before, and didn't work out very well for them. So you look at decisions that happen around the league as well, and the fake punt. If your thought process is we need to score points, then why wouldn't you take an opportunity like that?
But that's the problem.
If you have the look that you like.
Just very quickly, that is because you think I always criticize coaches. I think Baltimore did the exact right thing on those 4th and 1s. It's who they've been. It's a high percentage play for them. They hadn't been stopped on 1 all year long. They got unfortunate with it. The exact reason that I hate these two decisions is because they both happened. If you are going to be aggressive, then you do not, when a team is reeling, kick a field goal on 4th and 1 from the 13. You go for the throat. And if you're a game plan where you think, all right, we now have a big enough lead at 24-0, 21-0 to kick a field goal and make it 24-0, then you don't at 24-7 run a fake punt with the Chiefs this close to flipping it. But it's, by the way, none of it surprised me.
But you think at 24-7 they were that close to flipping it?
With Patrick Mahomes.
You thought the momentum there at that point was... So let's say you did feel that way, then that would be exactly the right time to take that chance.
If you had gone...
Because you feel... And look, any of these decisions, it's surprise onside kick versus onside kick. The difference in the numbers are staggering. You're only going to get the fakes to work if you're willing to do it, run the fake in an area
only a
when
lunatic
nobody
would do
expects
it.
Yeah,
it was the element of surprise was there because nobody thought you would be crazy enough to do a fake punt in that spot.
Typically when those things work.
That's correct.
Coach,
only a doofus would do a